Hi everybody, thanks for joining me. I'm Sally from Sally Stampers, and yes, you're not dreaming, I'm bringing you another video this week, and this one is a card. I've not done a video making a card before, and yet that really is my passion. And I did actually see one very similar to this on Pinterest, and I thought, you know what, that looks so effective, I want to have a go. And I thought, yeah, and I'm going to do a video and show everybody how I did it too. So let's get started. The base is Tip Top Taupe, which is an A4 sheet. Just grab my other base. It's an A4 sheet which is scored in half and then cut in half. I always do mine this way. Generally my cards are done that way. Obviously just the layout of this one is that way instead. The card I'm using here is the watercolour paper, which is fantastic obviously for watercolouring, which is what we're going to be doing. And it is just a fraction, half a centimetre smaller, lengthways and widthways, so that it just sits nicely on your card. So I'm using Jar of Love, probably not one of my favourites because I always have issues with the jars and everything else, but you know what? Again, having to have a play with it and making this card, I've actually had a lot of fun. So I'm going to use the middle-sized jar here, and that's all I'm actually using out of this, apart from the sentiment, which I've already popped on my D block. Going to grab my basic black, and just make sure you get a good coverage on your jar. And the first one actually is going in the centre, and then, excuse my head while I line this up, one to the left and one to the right. Now obviously in an ideal world we'd leave that to dry for a few minutes and hope that the ink dries off, but we don't live in the real world, do we? So we need to make sure that this is as dry as we can for as long as we can wait. So those are my jars. Aqua painter with some water in the chamber. And we want Tempting Turquoise, Crushed Curry, Pumpkin Pie and Melon Mambo. Look how bright they are, aren't they gorgeous? So give it a little squeeze on the top. No, you're not going to break it or damage it. Give it a little squeeze, get some ink in that lid. Likewise with Pumpkin Pie, give it a good squeeze, get ink in that lid. You've guessed it, Crushed Curry, give it a squeeze. And Tempting Turquoise. I do apologise, we seem to have one of my neighbours has decided to cut his hedge, which is delightful, isn't it, just when I'm doing my videos? Do apologise. So, right, give it a couple of squeezes. Or should I say give it a squeeze, get a couple of drops of water in there. Let's give it a little whiz. And then quite simply, just fill that bottle. 3/4. Sideways. That's right, I'm being really different. Grab a tissue, wipe that bit of ink off there. Let's go with the pumpkin pie. Couple of drops of water, give it a good mix. Let's blend it over that Melon Mambo and slightly into the next jar. Give it a wipe. You've guessed, Crushed Curry. Couple of drops, same again. Let's just put this colour on. Doesn't need to be neat, the whole idea is that it's not neat. Give it a wipe and Tempting Turquoise. Give it some colour, again overlapping into that yellow. And another tissue. Make sure you have plenty of tissues on hand when you're watercolouring. And that's it. So we need to give that a minute to dry, just while I put my pads away. And don't worry about that ink, you can wipe it off if you want to. I generally don't because it will just be absorbed back into the pads. So I'm going to move that to one side and just grab my tissue, because as I flicked that over, my Melon Mambo went everywhere. And I will have it all over me if I don't clean it up. So while that's drying, we'll put the lid on that. I'm going to grab my bright enamel dots. Beautiful. So I need my Tempting Turquoise, my Pumpkin Pie, Crushed Curry, and Melon Mambo. Then I need my basic black again, because I want to stamp my sentiment. And I'm going to go with, when I can find it, Friend, I think, today. Friend. Popping it on my B block. Getting some ink on there. And because I've sort of splodged a bit further that way, I'm actually going to pop this one just there. I quite like that. Let's give that a quick clean. I'm actually just killing time while this ink dries, but I'm sure you figured that out already anyway. So that's that away. Do you know what? I'm going to be really cheeky and just put this jar away as well, just because I want to make my ink dry just that little bit longer. Okay, I think I've killed enough time now. So I'm actually going to grab my fuse to adhere it, just because, as you can see, when you use watercolour, it does buckle the card very slightly. At the end of the day, we're putting water on card, so it's going to buckle. So I found that if you use some fuse, it's just a bit stronger, and I just run length top and bottom, one down, down the centre, and just down these edges too. It does seem a bit overkill with it, but obviously I want it to stick and not buckle once it's on the card. So pop that on, press it down, and then last but not least, let's add some, and I'll put dots on this one, I'm going to put stars on this one, and I'm just randomly adding them to my image. So let's go with some pumpkin and crushed curry, and then last but not least, my beautiful Tempting Turquoise. And I think that is a real super cute, bright, fun card that you could actually make a stack of and keep them as a birthday backup, give them to somebody as a birthday backup. But aren't they cute? And they're so bright, so colourful. I love them. As you can see, that's why we need the fuse to get it to stick, sorry. And if you want to add a little panel to the inside, you could use Very Vanilla or Whisper White and just do a little image inside. But I just quite like those. I think they're plain, simple, bright, and ideal for any occasion. All the items that I've used are available to purchase through the shop, details of which are below in the description. These items are all being carried over, so you are... No, I fib. Tip Top Taupe isn't. Potentially you could use Crumb Cake or Sahara Sand. Tip Top Taupe is the only one because it is a retiring in colour that's being retired. Everything else you can purchase. All of the details of what I used are also available on my blog. The link for that is also below. If you have any questions or any queries, by all means contact me. I would be extremely humbled if you purchased your items for this project through me, which is, as I say, just in the link for the shop below. Hope you have a fabulous day, guys, and I hope to speak to you all again soon. Bye!